Hello and welcome to Popcorn and Loopholes, because there were no plot holes in this stupid fucking... I wasn't stupid. In this movie.
Okay.
Spoiler
I don't know how
alerts.
I don't know how I feel about that intro.
We watched Oppenheimer. You're
We
welcome.
did.
We did. We watched Oppenheimer.
We sure did.
You'll find out.
Some Heim today.
No, don't be
No.
like that.
No?
Just don't.
Don't do that. With me, unfortunately, Spencer.
I said we opened some Heim today. Am I right?
Yeah, this is why it's unfortunately.
Boo earns. Luciano is here as well.
Yeah, I suppose I am.
Chris is forsaking us once more.
Yeah.
He's dead to us.
He is. We watched Oppenheimer, as I said, the Christopher Nolan movie, but I don't know. This one's a toughie.
There's so many big actors.
So many. Who we thinking?
Is the
Han Solo vehicle?
That's not the actor's name.
I
not.
don't know his name,
it's
though.
the James Remar vehicle.
Who the fuck's James Remar?
He's the
Who do you
Secretary
play?
of Defense or whatever. Harry Stimson, the guy that doesn't want to bomb Kyoto because he was honeymoon. He went to honeymoon there.
Yeah, it was really cool there.
I'd say this is actually a Jack Quaid
Jack
vehicle.
Quaid. Okay.
Yeah, Huey's from The Boys.
Yeah,
Huey from
because
The Boys.
it's pretty good to have on your resume, even though he really didn't do anything.
Okay. What about...
The Casey Affleck vehicle.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that was a wild...
No, you know what? It's the Josh Hartnett vehicle. Let him come back.
Hey,
Poor Lawrence.
it's the Heart Renaissance.
Yeah, it's the Hartnett Renaissance. It's back. That's what we're going with. All right, that was important time we spent.
Yes.
Welcome to our review of Oppenheimer, the Josh Hartnett vehicle. You're welcome.
So very clearly.
Yeah, let's dive into this. We always start off with something we liked about this movie, and then we go from there. Anybody have something you want to start with?
Oh, so many things I liked about this movie.
You get one, Luciano.
Which one do I pick? That's the hard part. I think if I had to pick one thing to be the favorite, can I pick three? Fuck. You go first, Spencer. I'll pick what you don't pick.
What is this shit? You have too
I
many?
know.
Fucking, this isn't
I
pick a
do,
jam
I
in a
do.
goddamn
Mr.
grocery
Positive?
store.
Just
I
pick
do.
fucking one.
Yeah.
But I get what he's saying. Like, this movie as a whole is very good.
Yeah.
And, like, there's a lot of good elements, but I wouldn't say there's, like, one particular scene that was, like, oh, my God, that was sick. But I will say I really liked the music in this movie.
That's weird. I mean, it's good, but I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, because I found it made a lot of the mundane feel more epic, because it's like really playing throughout the entire movie, like right beneath the surface.
I mean, it was
building up
certainly-
tension or epicness.
It was certainly the place I really noticed it the most was during the Trinity test, right? Like it made that tension level
Yeah.
feel
Oh
so
my God,
fucking hot.
it was
It was
so
building
good.
for like a solid 7 minutes.
And the choice of having the actual explosion be completely silent was a fucking stroke of genius.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I was gonna pick, was that, like, the lead up and the explosion being completely silent.
I think a lot of people complained about the explosion not being like big enough or whatever.
Really? They actually
I don't know
how.
They actually blew up an actual bomb, not a nuclear bomb.
I know, yeah.
But
I think they because they did it. Like, I think people are so used to seeing the nuclear bomb that they
like
picture
the
in their
little
heads.
pretty mushroom
They
and
didn't get the
everything.
Yeah.
yeah.
They didn't get that wave of the Terminator 2 opening
Yeah.
to Fallout style nukes. So I think because it did look like just a giant explosion, not like necessarily like a nuke from what I picture in my head.
And there's a plot hole.
Movie ruined.
It wasn't really a nuclear
It wasn't
bomb.
really a nuke.
How do you make a movie about a nuke without firing one nuke?
Yeah.
Chris
How can
Nolan's
you
a coward.
method act and not
Yeah.
actually blow up a nuke? Yeah.
But I really liked the music. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things. I'm not going to name them because I'm not Luciano.
Wow.
Okay, I'll name
On the
one
fence.
only then.
I was just gonna say, just Spencer. I don't know. I think you know this, but maybe not. But Oppenheimer won for best sound and best
That makes sense.
original score.
Makes sense.
Oh, good. But didn't it win everything?
Wow.
We won a lot of things, right?
if this list is correct on Google, Best Actor, Best
Cinematography?
Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, Best Film Editing, Best Supporting Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Costume Design, Best Production Design, Best Makeup and Hairstyle,
So
Best
pick
Sound.
anything.
All of the things.
Well,
So pick anything, and it'll be backed up by an Oscar.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll pick something that isn't going to be backed up by an Oscar.
It didn't win all 13 of those. It only won 7 of those 13.
Oh, just 7.
It was nominated for those.
Okay.
And it did not win Best Supporting Actress.
Did it win Best Picture?
Fair.
No.
It didn't win Best Adapted Screenplay. It didn't win Makeup. It didn't win Costume Design. It did not win
I was going to
Production
say, I don't think it
Design.
should have won Best
Yeah,
Makeup or
costume design.
Costume.
It didn't win Sound, so get fucked.
Oh, I didn't say
you're-
sound. I said score. Did it win score?
Yeah, Ludwig Göransson won.
Yeah, see? Fucking
Okay,
right. That's
there
what I
you go.
said.
Okay, so let me pick something that definitely isn't backed by an Oscar. I really liked the against type casting that they did, like casting Matt Damon as an absolute asshole, and like Casey Affleck as that General Colonel Pash guy that's supposed to be super intimidating.
Is that
And-
against type?
Oh,
Isn't he a horrible person?
Yeah.
Who?
Casey Affleck?
Well,
Is that- I
as a
don't know if
person,
that's
I'm
true.
not sure, but like he doesn't really play intimidating colonels very much.
Was
I
Matt
don't
Damon
think.
an asshole in this?
Oh my god! Did you watch this movie?
Matt, what do you think? Do you think? I
Goddamn.
thought he was kind of like
Groves was a fucking asshole.
Yeah, but I don't see him like
he backed him up in the court thing.
if you if you think about his character in Good Will Hunting, he's also a fucking gigantic asshole in
But
that
it's
movie.
different. He's a like
Different
What was-
shade of asshole. Like it's
yeah,
all
a
just
different type
assholes.
of
shade
asshole.
of brown.
Yeah.
Because but that was his first movie,
Yeah, but he's played.
and then he's played nice guys, not nice guys, but like
he fucking-
heroes and stuff like that.
Talented
for the whole
Mr. Ripley.
His character
Interstellar.
from Euro Trip when he sings "Scotty Doesn't Know,"
thing.
he's
That is-
clearly an
that
asshole
is
there.
a fucking asshole. That's true.
Scotty
Forgot
doesn't
about
know
that.
that Fiano and me do it every day.
But I was gonna say also before you fucked my point, Robert Downey Jr. as well, who's always he's always playing like tragic sort of like anti-hero / jerk with a heart of gold. And this guy
Yeah.
is just a fucking jerk.
with a heart of
Jerk.
jerk, with a heart
Yeah.
of jerk chicken.
Yeah.
But I'll say I don't think Matt Damon was supposed to be an asshole in this movie. Am I
Hard
misreading him?
ass.
What was the asshole thing he did other than create a nuclear bomb?
Other than yelling at that like scientist's face to say you should fucking upend your entire fucking life and come to Los Alamos because I won it.
One
Yeah,
time.
because you're doing the most important thing in the fucking world that's never been done before.
I love that scene. It was he
Yeah,
was
I
so
respect
angry. No, I love the acting in this whole movie. It was great.
I wouldn't call that being an asshole. I call it being passionate about your work.
I'm
Yeah.
like an asshole.
Yeah, I don't know, but
and in the trial, he did try and fight for
True.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he
And
was
at
he
the
was
end, they
not
left
like he was
smiling at
not an
each other.
absolute horseshit asshole. You're right. Anyway, forget Matt Damon.
yeah,
Let's stick with Robert Downey Jr. It's not. I didn't expect him to be playing
Yeah, right.
like
you
a
had all that
politician
time
who's an asshole.
to think
You
of
had all
a
those
point,
options,
and they all sucked.
and you failed.
They're all fucking terrible.
Listen, I have a whole fucking list I can go through of things I like about this movie.
Well, you failed, and we're not going to wait for your list. Myself, things I enjoyed about this movie. Obviously, Chris Nolan went out of his way to cast a lot of good actors, but in general, I really enjoyed Cillian Murphy playing
Yeah, he was good.
Oppenheimer. He's very convincing.
Agreed.
He pulled
Yeah.
everything off well. I've always known he's a talented actor, but he doesn't necessarily. He's kind of Daniel Day-Lewis in the sense of his acting, where he just like shows up and does shit and then vanishes.
You know what's funny? I was gonna say that he reminded me of Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood in this, mainly with the tone of his voice.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know if you've seen There Will Be Blood, but he's like, my son is an oil. Me and my son, we're an oil man, and we drill holes, and we're here to take this land. And that was kind of like I found that Cillian Murphy was kind of similar. Like he had a similar way of talking.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you brought him up.
At least
Because he's also an oil man.
he didn't try to do Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York. That would have been out of place.
Bad.
Bad.
Just bad.
I mean, I loved him in Gangs of New York, but yeah, the accent wasn't the best.
It was awful.
The character was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's. I wonder how hard it is necessarily for people who don't speak American with the American accents to nail the right accent.
All right, it's not like he nailed. Like sometimes you go, oh, look, Oppenheimer is certainly Irish for 2 words, but
Yeah, but I think overall, like he did an excellent job, and for a
all
movie
of
that
them,
has to
all of the
focus on them.
Brits,
Yeah,
did very well with that. Yeah.
Well, let's just get into it. It's
Oh,
not
boy.
that I love Emily Blunt,
Right.
but I found her, other than the 5 seconds at the end of the movie where she dresses down Roger Robb,
Yeah. Oh, that is so good.
she's fucking wasted in this movie. She has
Yeah, I
literally
agree, I
nothing
agree.
to do.
She is again. Me and my wife were talking. We're like, how do the kids feel about this movie? Because like their mother is portrayed as the worst. Every scene she's in for the first 3 quarters of the movie is her just being awful.
Yeah,
Apparently,
Like, just
that's
awful.
how she was.
Okay.
So
I guess so. I guess they're all like okay with it then because
they were like,
every scene
yeah,
she's like,
that's mom. That's mom.
she's like, literally, it's like they just put the kids to bed. And she's like, the brat's down. And then it's
Yeah.
like, take the kids away. I don't want anything to do with them. She's like, give me some more. I want to
Shouldn't
drink.
you go to him? You fucking go to him.
Yeah, you
Like,
fucking go to. I would go to him all day. She walks away drunk. First scene, she's like cheating on her husband. It's just like, oh, okay, well,
technically they're both equal, so let's not even fight that one.
Yeah, I agree. She's wasted. She's like most of what she does is glare. She does a lot of glaring in this movie.
Yeah, and so like this is probably a good. We talked about this before we started the podcast, and like I think in general it's probably time to take this up. And I don't know if it's because this is a movie made in the 1940s and women didn't matter in the 1940s, or if this is how Chris Nolan wanted to construct this movie. But what the fuck is going on with all the Gene Tatlock scenes? Like, did Chris Nolan just really want to get Florence Pugh naked? And he's like, well, I guess I gotta get Cillian Murphy naked too, so let's do it.
Maybe.
well, listen, he got that R rating and he was gonna
Use it.
He's gonna use it. He doesn't get to make R rated movies.
I got to show
often.
one pair of boobs, and I'm gonna show.
And I get
By
to show-
God, one pair of boobs.
By God, I will show those boobs and I will show slight ball sack,
Yeah.
and you will see it and you will love it.
I didn't see Slide Ball Second. I'm okay with it.
Well, you missed out because that's why I watched this movie.
For-
And
for
that's why I'm watching it
for
again right
for
now.
the side sack. That's what you.
Side
that's what-
sack, exactly.
Everyone loves a good side sack.
I'm here for the side sack. I stay for the 3-hour historical epic film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
I don't. It was so unnecessary in my like. There's no reason to. It was like mood whiplash every time.
I really tried to figure out what he was trying to convey. And listen, it's not like Christopher Nolan is known for his very straightforward storytelling. He had
Oh,
times
don't get me started on
tells
that.
a
I want to talk
little
about
confusing stories. But this story was pretty straightforward because it's a historical,
that. Yeah. And he
dramatic-
still managed to make it
you
confusing.
think so,
Okay.
but no. That was one of my notes. Was why does Christopher Nolan have to make movies
Yes.
time cut? So
Yeah, I fucking hate it.
That's his thing.
it's like it's his thing, but like this is a like just make this movie comes off as complicated when it's really a very straightforward story, and if it was just a normal life story, shows him from point A to point B, it would be pretty like easy to
Straightforward.
follow.
Yeah.
But because it's like overlapping, it's like unnecessarily convoluted.
Spencer, do you want to win Oscars or you just want to make movies that people watch?
That's true.
Is
I
that
mean,
the, is that the two choices? Like they're mutually
That's it.
exclusive.
I mean, I guess I can't really like nitpick him because like one, he won the Oscar, but also like he got how this movie made like fucking almost $1 billion. It's incredible that this 3-hour 99% dialogue driven
And
film.
he shot the whole thing in 57 days, which is insane
Yeah.
for a
Yeah,
movie of
like-
this size.
I just can't believe that many people saw this movie.
Yeah.
It makes me like actually quite happy that people are willing to see this kind of
Spend
movie
their
because everyone's
time,
like everyone's like, oh, the movies are dead. It's all like blockbusters, and it's like, yeah, that's true unless your name's Christopher Nolan, in which case,
Well,
I can make
unless your
whatever
name
the
is
fuck I
Christopher
want.
Nolan and your cast is fucking stacked to the tits,
Yeah.
then yeah.
Yeah, unless you're Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino, in
Well,
which case, you know,
I mean, the thing is, it doesn't like did a lot of people go watch Tenet? Like, I think that
Probably.
didn't do
no,
well.
it didn't do as well as
He blamed it on the pandemic, but I also think
I think that's fair.
But I also think the movie is fucking convoluted as shit, and people are just like, "What
Oh
the
yeah,
fuck?"
that movie was like
I have to watch it.
a
Still.
lot. I watched
We'll
it
get to it, I'm sure.
and I did like it. there's some cool stuff in it, but it's definitely like, even as an avid Nolan fan and like pretty like trying to grasp every aspect of it, it was still like mind numbing at times.
So I hear it makes Dark, the series, seem straightforward. That's what I hear about Tenet.
I haven't seen Dark, but it definitely makes Inception seem like fucking Barney the dinosaur. Like it's so easy. It's like that. If that's like A B C, and then fucking Tenet is like C omega Q.
Pi times 2.
Way to bring it back to this movie with science. So
thank you.
I just want to go back to my question about Gene Tatlock because we kind of strayed from it, and I don't like that.
Are you talking about the character or like just the sex scenes?
Just this. Well, like the character is fine. The character is an important character in his life, or at least was an interesting character for Tenet to explore. But
was paramount to him getting fucked in that hearing, right?
Yeah, not Tenet to explore, Nolan to explore. But I found that in general, like those scenes didn't, like if those scenes weren't in the movie, it wouldn't have, because he glosses over his affair with what's her faces at the end of the movie. They just mentioned it in passing, right?
The other,
I was like,
his friend's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, he didn't know. Oh, you're just a bad guy.
Yeah. So like,
it feels gratuitous, is what you're saying.
A little bit, like
I agree.
And I just didn't know what the purpose of it was. Like he really loved her. Okay, great. Well, you could have shown that without boobs.
I mean, I'm not as like, it didn't take me out of the movie really, because it's just a sex scene and whatever. It's an R-rated film. It was trying to be artsy sex scene. But although it was like weird that she made him read Sanskrit while they were having sex, and then he said, "I have become death" as they're having sex, and I was like,
I hate that. Why
did
would
they know he was gonna make the nuke when he was saying that? Like, why is he saying that?
It's some of the things that he does to give the movie drama and like intrigue. That's just like, no, thank you.
That scene
all of
reminded
those
me,
like abstract things that happen like in the background where the explosions and all that shit, all of that I found was completely unnecessary,
like distracting.
I
liked some of the dream sequences, like the scene when he's like making that speech and then the people are like cutting between like crying and laughing, and
that one makes a lot
really
of
well
sense.
done. I like that one a lot because it really felt, and that effect of like when he's like kind of having panic attack where the background is shaking. I thought was really cool.
The noise of everybody stomping on the ground. We hear that a bunch of times before we even see it. All of that is fine.
I do have to bring this up, and it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it pissed me off so much. In that scene when they're in like the auditorium, why is the basketball net mounted over a fucking fireplace?
I didn't even notice.
Wait, you never cooked some s'mores while shooting hoops?
Like you missed a shot or just fucking
and
the balls.
Yeah, it's called basketball with stakes.
It's sudden death basketball.
I hate it.
But just to go back to the that scene where they're having sex and he says, "I am become death." That scene just reminded me of like, to go back to Solo, when he's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "I have." He doesn't say what's your name. He goes, "Who are your people?"
Yeah.
Who are you with? Who are you with?
Yeah.
I'm
who are you
Solo.
With? And he goes, "I'm alone." And he goes,
Han Solo.
That's what that reminded me of. It was like, we have to show the origin of the "I am become death" line. Yeah,
you're right.
And I'm like, I don't think people really like care where he came up with that. I don't think people thought he was banging a girl like reading Sanskrit to come up with it. And
no, he was like banging her, and she makes him read that, and he goes, "Ooh, if I ever create a weapon of mass destruction," I say that.
I'm gonna write this down.
Make it a mental
I just
note.
think that's his pickup line.
I am become death, destroyer of that ass.
Yeah. Now that scene makes sense. Never mind. I withdraw my statement.
This is almost like cultural ignorance when they were like, Bhagavad Gita, Kama Sutra, it's all Indian, right? Let's just mix it up.
I am become Riz.
Destroyer of that ass.
Destroyer of pussy.
ass. Yeah, that's good. A destroyer of pussy. He's like, yeah, this is good. I can rework this for whatever I need.
This is perfect.
Oh God. Yeah, I agree that it felt like gratuitous, almost like edgelord gratuitous. Like, look, my movie has boobies. Like, dude, why are you 13?
I think
like,
it's the first time he got to have nudity in a movie, and he just was like, "I'm going to do it."
Yeah, but
I'm
it
gonna
doesn't
pull the trigger.
It doesn't. I cannot connect it to the rest of the movie and how the rest of the movie is told. That's the only thing. It just
Well, the rest of the movie feels like a regular like PG-13, whatever, like historical drama.
talking about like bombing millions of people, don't know how.
Yeah, but
PG
that's
that
not
is.
usually what will make a rating. It's
Yeah,
usually
yeah,
like
yeah.
swearing, sex, violence,
Yeah.
and there really was none of that except for some swearing here and there.
I'm sorry. So your argument of showing boobs is to justify an R rating. That's
Yeah, I think
I
that's
think
why.
he's right, actually.
But why
I
would you
think
need
that-
an R rating for this movie?
No, it's the reverse. Is like, I got an R rating.
I got
now
an
I'm
R
gonna
rating,
have
so I
use
got to
it.
do something with it.
Yeah.
But you don't get an R rating before you make your movie.
No, they make it. They give you the rating before you write the script.
No, he went
Everyone knows
he went
that.
to the RIA people and he went like, okay, so what do I have to do to get an R rating?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll just do that.
hard
They're
R.
like, knowing the rating system, like you can show a man be cut in half and have his intestines come out. You can say fuck 10,000 times,
Yeah,
or you can show
PG-13.
one woman's boobs, and he's like,
Yeah.
R.
okay.
Can I show it twice?
Yeah,
Can I show it twice?
you gotta show it twice.
Okay.
Now you're
Nice.
pushing it to
Fine.
an X.
Same boobs, fine.
Same boobs, yeah.
Different
Same
boobs,
boobs,
no.
yeah.
Different boobs. What is this, a porn?
Yeah.
But
And also, like that second, like if they wanted to make it, like if you wanted to make it jarring, like to show it that the that he was like, but he wasn't even cheating on anybody at the first scene, right? They were both they were both single.
I thought the second one where she's showing him her having sex with him during the hearing or during his trial, his kangaroo court trial.
There's three then. Yeah,
I thought that
you're
was
right.
kind of effective because it was like showing her picturing it because she's like hearing about it
Yeah.
in
Sorry, what?
detail.
The scene where like Kitty imagines him having sex with her
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
yeah,
hearing.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
actually the most effective one. That might have been
Yeah.
actually even more effective if that was the first time we've seen.
Yeah, if that was the only one, then you'd be like,
Yeah.
whoa. That was like, you could
Like,
see how much
holy shit!
it affects her
Yeah,
because it's giving us that same feeling of like,
yeah.
damn,
Yeah,
I don't-
he is destroying that ass. He is the destroyer of ass. That's what you said. Those were
that
inner
is in the
monologue.
official court records. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say before we move on, I just want to say now this is what my only real complaints about this movie were I didn't think it had to be cut up time wise. I think it would have been fine
same.
if it was
Linear?
linear. Yeah, just
Yeah,
a linear
yeah.
movie. Again, this isn't really a fair critique, but I thought the climax was a little bit anticlimactic because I didn't know the history, and then the whole time they're like, he's like, who are the scientists who are speaking at my hearing? Who are the scientists? And they're like, we're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you. And I totally thought Oppenheimer was going to come and make a speech at the hearing,
Right.
and it was going to be like the big climax where he finally, because they also go throughout the movie where she's like, stand up for yourself. You got to fight. You never fight you got to fight. And then he's like,
Well,
Doesn't
yeah, he does it
fight.
because he feels super guilty.
no, it made sense in the theme of the movie because
right?
afterwards I was like,
but the payoff wasn't all there.
yeah, there's no payoff because afterwards I was
Right.
like, oh, because he says the line where she's like, do you think if you let them tar and feather you, it'll make up for what you did? And he's like, we'll see. Right.
Yeah.
So it shows that he was like he wasn't fighting because he was like felt he
Yeah.
deserved it. And that makes sense. But I was
But-
really like hoping, I thought they were setting up that, right?
This is where real life can let you down.
I know exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because
'Cause
the story of the Manhattan Project is a great story for a movie. But when you expand from the Manhattan Project into Oppenheimer himself, it's like it's great. Oh, they did it. They dropped the bomb, and then he feels guilty about it. But how do you have a climax for a movie like that? And the Strauss thing being the climax is like it's not even about him, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And it's like at the end they're like, they had the Einstein words to him, and who knows if that's actually accurate. And eventually they, brought him back because they had treated him like shit. But like all of it's just kind of like you're wrapping things up, but we took like fucking what 30, 45 minutes after the Trinity test to like wrap the movie up.
Almost an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like it was fine. It just wasn't great. It was just like
Yeah.
what do we do here?
I think it's
that
the type of movie, right? Like you can't really expect a big climax in every
No.
type of movie.
Of course. I think that's also why they were doing other than it just being Christopher Nolan, but the non-linear, because they wanted to have the climax of both trials at once
at the same time
to make it more feel like a climax.
It's about Oppenheimer and
and stress. But in that trial that he's in, he's just getting shit on,
taking it
and
like
it's
a
like
bitch.
It's like we're supposed to feel good about the scene where Strauss is getting his comeuppance, but then we're also seeing Oppenheimer just kind of get
fucked. Yeah.
Get fucked. And I'm like, I get he's bad, but it's like, are we supposed I wasn't sure how I was supposed to feel about him getting fucked, because it's like I felt kind of bad. Like I wanted him to have a redemption because we're with that character the whole time.
Yeah.
But I guess in the real world, you don't want him to get redemption, kind of, because he's also kind of created the nuke, which is horrible.
I mean, he in the end, the very end, it even shows it there. He gets a Fermi Award, and like he's recognized
That's
for
true.
his work and all that stuff.
But it's done in a very dour. You know what? I've convinced myself to change my mind. I like that ending.
Well,
You know what? Because it
Good
summed
job.
it up well. It made it. You felt. It kind of made you feel what he feels, which is like he at the end. It's like he doesn't get his hooray. It's like it's all empty, and it's kind of like it fizzles out, instead of a big happy climax.
Yeah, well, I think that was the part of the sort of the intent is to show that all of these geniuses, right? Not just Oppenheimer, but like this was like a fucking physics Avengers, right? You have like Niels Bohr, Einstein, Heisenberg, Ernest Lawrence, like all of the Feynman, right? And all of these people are super smart, but they're also super dumb when it comes to like other things. And I think there's a line that I really liked in the movie that Louis Strauss says, which is genius is no guarantee of wisdom. I love that line. It's so true. And I think that was the idea with this movie, is to show, look, this is a really smart guy who's a real idiot about everything else. And I think the ending, the way that it did, like with everybody getting fucked basically, is kind of supposed to do that. At least that's how I took it.
Yeah, there only one scientist who was like showed any. I forget it was what's his name, his friend who's also from New York,
Robbie.
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 He was
my
the
favorite
only
character
one
in the movie.
Yeah, he was the only one who was like, I don't think that 200 years of physicists should lead to a weapon of mass destruction. And everyone's like, what? You don't want to work on this bomb? You don't what? What are you talking about? This is a great opportunity. This is a huge project. And he's like, yeah, but we're
like the justification he gives is like, well, maybe it's not a good idea for us to have it, but it's better than if the Nazis have it.
Should we be working on stopping them from having it? Because even if we make it, they're still gonna have it.
Rock solid. Nah, they were way off. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, why did we need to build it?
Well, I mean that's fair. I mean, it's just, it's fine. I mean, that's the thing about telling a true to life story, and Christopher Nolan did a good job of hitting all the true to life beats. He didn't make up a bunch of shit. He added some stuff for dramatic effect, but the large beats are there, right? Like Oppenheimer had several affairs, and the Oppenheimer project, the Manhattan Project had all the scientists were there. He ran it. Groves is a real person who was in charge of it from the military aspect. Security clearance was an issue. All those beats. Strauss not getting into. Strauss being ahead of the AEC and him getting caught, with all the stuff that happened, and then him not being added as confirmed as a cabinet minister. All that's happened. All that's historically accurate. So, good job. And I guess if you're telling a true life story, then the true life story has to end in a way that life ended.
Yeah, which is rarely climactic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess that's why Einstein's secret words ring true, right?
Which ones?
Well, the ones he said to him when Strauss
he said he was the destroyer of ass.
No, he just confirmed
Einstein's
it.
like, I too am the destroyer of that
Destroyer of
ass.
in my day was the destroyer of ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but he said he was like, they're gonna
Oh, right,
destroy
when he
you
said-
for it, and when they're gonna give you an award, but it's not
No,
gonna be for you.
It's
gonna
not
be
for
them.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 That was a great dialogue too.
Yeah, that was a really good scene.
No,
And
I'm
it was
certain Einstein
Again,
never said that.
it's
but-
like melancholy kind of ending.
Yeah.
Well, not even melancholy. It's just like, it's kind of just like a downer ending.
It's a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I respect it. Like I said, in the moment, I wanted my like classic movie climax. But even talking about it, it's like no, it's an appropriate ending to this story.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you can't have the guy who created the nuke have like a happy redemption arc.
Yeah.
Well, I quibble with the statement. You can't have a happy. This is life. It's not that if somehow Oppenheimer would have been seen in the same light as George Washington, then fine. Like how the South fucking sees all those retired racist generals, right? Like if society had seen him that way, you could have made the movie that way. But society didn't.
Oppenheimer gave up his bomb making ways and took up surfing. And lived his days on the beaches of Hawaii, hanging 10.
Yeah, he met up with Andy Dufresne, right?
Yeah, he's surfing. It's just like, I'm feeling about good vibration. Just surfing the waves.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think they did a great job in that respect, and as we talked about it here, I think Nolan did the best he could to make it have some climactic weight, not just him losing his security clearance, but the fallout of that on Strauss. Doing it in parallel let you have some sort of victory for your guy. You get behind Oppenheimer in the movie, so he still wins. Albeit not directly.
It's very Pyrrhic, but yeah, he does win.
I think if I were making that movie, though, I would have taken a little creative license and had, instead of Hill making that speech, have it be Oppenheimer. Be like, who gives a fuck? It wasn't really him.
That's a tough one because I think that now you're breaching
like
the historical.
And he was
construct.
very discredited already. Nobody would have called him to.
Because even though those things were in parallel, they didn't happen in parallel, right? So you wouldn't call an Oppenheimer when his security clearance is gone. Everybody thinks he's shit.
Yeah. Like the fact that we didn't have just 2 timelines, but we had at one point we had 4 timelines in this movie.
I didn't really get
fucking Nolan.
I guess I also didn't get the weight. Like I didn't get the weight of him losing security clearance meant him being discredited. I would like throughout the movie. I'm like, so what? He loses security clearance and he just fucking retires.
Well,
or,
he would
gets a different job.
The whole point that they even make in the movie is that after he helped create the 2 bombs that were dropped in Japan. He spent the rest of his time using whatever influence he got from that, trying to stop the nuclear program. Right.
Yeah.
And so him losing that security clearance effectively put him out. Well, he couldn't influence policy anymore and all that stuff, right?
Because by losing the clearance, it implies like the letter that they read from David Dalmatian, where he's like, I think it's more probable than not that he is. He's like not a collaborator. Yeah, it's like. Yeah. That's the thing with losing your security clearance. It's basically implying that you're a spy, and that's why no one.
And even that was like anticlimactic for both sides because he lost the clearance, but they couldn't find him disloyal.
Yeah.
So it was sort of like a half an orgasm for both sides.
A ruined orgasm, I think is what they call it.
No, not even ruined. They started and
okay, you know what? Fine. What is half an orgasm?
I don't know. Whatever happened in this movie.
Once the chain reaction kicks off. That's what Roger Robb says.
You tie the tip off and it doesn't come out.
That sounds awful.
I think your dick would explode if that happened.
I was gonna say it sounds like my balls would burst.
I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty sure that works.
I'm no Oppenheimer, but I'm pretty sure that's how you create a nuke in your nutsack.
Yeah, you don't want that nutsack nuke. It's bad news.
Yeah, bad. Anyway, I think that like that ending was supposed to be a bummer for everybody involved.
Well, I mean, it's life, right? I don't think Nolan went out to do anything other than show the man's life, and
it's based on the movie, on the book, right? The biography.
Yeah, American Prometheus.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I like unlike you guys didn't know much. Like I knew about the Manhattan Project and I knew about Oppenheimer. I basically just knew that he created the nuke and then he said, "I'm the destroyer of worlds." line.
Yeah.
Like those are literally, which in my mind was like, oh, okay, he regretted it because that's something you would say when you regret it. But that's all I knew. So it was really cool, like learning everything and not knowing what was going to happen at all. But then I was like I thought for sure that the scene where he poisons that apple was like made up for the movie. I thought 100%. I was like,
it's not.
I literally said, I'm like, why would they do that? Like clearly they wanted like a cool character introduction to make him seem like he's like.
It seems so unreasonable.
It seems so unrealistic.
Yeah.
And I was like,
no, it happened.
That's wild.
Well, that is an interesting thing that I think we find in movies in general. When someone makes a biopic, you never know if you can trust that they're telling a true story.
I assume it's fake now.
We kind of have to because so many people have made such bad movies. I mean, the fucking latest one, was it Blonde? The
Blonde was the Marilyn Monroe
thing where it's like they just made up a whole whack of shit.
Yeah, like she had a like talking fetus or something.
Yeah, like who the fuck knows?
Yeah,
what?
It was wild, and it's just like, but so it's like, you know, I guess when those things happen, it's weird to me that you would take someone who is a historical figure or a celebrity figure and make a movie about them and make up complete nonsense about them.
Yeah,
but not frame it as try to still frame it as a biopic and not frame it as a, you know, different lifestyle or like historical retelling. Because to me it's just like, what's the purpose? If you want to use Marilyn Monroe, if you want to use Oppenheimer, if you want to use fucking Alan Turing to tell a story, then tell the story about the person. That's why people go to watch
the
it.
Money, baby.
But the
people aren't going to see the Oppenheimer movie unless he's busting ass.
But I mean, fair. But at least the Oppenheimer movie is true about his life. And has titties.
Yeah, like don't create an entire like non-existent part of the person's life if it's supposed to be a biopic.
Yeah, there's so many times I see a movie like a biopic, and then I'm like, wow, that was a fascinating story, and then you go and like, I want to see how that like ended or whatever.
Up,
like what happened in that part, and then it's like you go and you're like. Turns out that was it John Nash, you know, from Beautiful Mind. Turns out he didn't see people at all.
Yeah.
Or, you know, that was the whole movie. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's, it is. It's annoying, and it makes you cynical to all biopics. So going into this, I was cynical. I thought this was going to be like, you know, totally like oh, it turns out he never met Einstein, and that was you know, it turns out he like all these things, and then. When I looked into it, it was like, oh wow, he tried to kill a man with an apple.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's funny because like reality has no compromise with like making sense, right? Reality just is, and it's like when the more like out there stuff, and you're like, there's absolutely no way. Like this, one of the things I thought the Apple thing wasn't true, but I also was like, wait a minute. All of these people were involved. Richard Feynman, Niels Bohr, like what the fuck?
I mean,
and it turns out literally all of them were there and more people that they don't talk about. So
they weren't the rock stars of the.
It was like, oh, he met Werner Heisenberg. He met fucking, you know, Einstein.
I can't believe that the guy that made meth in Breaking Bad was there. That was wild.
He was so old too.
That's what all I could think of. They have Heisenberg. Oh my god! Say my name. Say my name.
I just did. I called you. I said hello.
I am the one who knocks.
Nobody. What are you talking about? Nobody's knocking.
Smoke my meth.
Yeah.
Cool references. Yeah, I think the only other thing. I think the curious thing for me is all of these actors sign up to be in this movie, and they play such.
Gary Oldman signs up for a 2-minute scene.
Like I'm just fascinated
that was wild
that he just shows up for like a hot minute to be Harry Truman, and then
Was anyone else just like, wasn't he just Winston Churchill in this war?
Yeah.
He can't be Winston Churchill and be
Can't be
Truman.
both.
He's going to play Hitler in another movie coming up. It's going to be like the Gary Oldman World War II universe.
The World War II trifecta.
He's just fighting himself.
And he plays Benito Mussolini in the next one, and the Japanese emperor in the last one.
So you're not Stalin. He's not going to play Stalin?
No. That's,
I can play Stalin too. Yeah, he
I
has
just want to see the
mustache
Gary
for it.
Oldman universe where he just plays everybody.
He plays everybody. Yeah.
The Oldman verse? I can see
And it's funny because we hear Truman announcing the dropping of the bombs on the radio before he ever shows up. And in like 3 words, I'm like, oh, Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
So
That's
iconic.
funny.
His voice is
I
so
didn't
iconic.
notice.
Yeah. He has this like, I don't know what movie I've seen him do it in. I think it's a little, he looked a little bit like his fucking evil villain from The Fifth Element.
He did.
the mouse
Yeah,
shape.
that's true. All that was missing was like some black goo dripping down his face. Yeah.
What was that guy's name? Oh, that's
I
gonna
don't
kill me.
remember.
It's fine. I can look it up while we vamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, he.
I love that movie so much.
He's the best part of that movie too.
Oh, everything is good about that movie.
I asked for 4 crates, 1 box, 4 crates. No.
What is the accent? What is that accent?
It's like southern space Texas.
Southern Space Texas.
It's easier to say Harry Truman-esque. That's what it is. His character's name was Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg.
Zorg.
Everyone just
yeah.
thinks
Yeah.
Zorg.
Yeah. What a fucking science fiction last name, Zorg.
But yeah, I liked how him as Truman, he's like people don't blame the man who made the bomb, they blame the man who dropped it. I was like, that's a good line. And then I'm like, oh, he's kind of like consoling him. And then as he's leaving, he's like, get that sissy out of my office. What does he say?
And get that crybaby out of here.
Yeah, I was like, well,
but
that's
apparently
rough.
what Truman actually said was worse. So you know that scene where he waves the handkerchief?
Yeah.
Apparently Truman actually says, would you like me to wipe your hands for you, when he says that line about blood on your hands? And when he walks out, he doesn't overhear it, but apparently he says, never bring that fucking cretin here ever again. That's what he says. So it's like extra son of a bitch.
He did say that. He said, he says, don't let that
crybaby back in here.
Never let that crybaby back in this office. I was like, whew, that's
fine.
But he called him a fucking cretin.
Historically, Truman's seen as kind of a doofus as a president. So what are you going to do?
He'll be known for one thing and one thing only forever, right?
Yeah. Well, yes, for sure.
Nut nukes.
First nut.
Did he tie the tip too?
He tied the knot.
Yeah.
He's like, this gives me an idea. If I could create this kind of power.
He's another one whose accent also slips.
He's got one scene and his accent slips.
He does. He says Hiroshima, like a proper Brit.
Hiroshima.
That's fun.
But no, he's great at it. But it's like such a small scene for such a big name actor.
Well, it's fascinating, because it's Nolan. Nolan is like, can you do me a favor? And they're like, yeah.
Apparently, Florence Pugh said, if I get to play in a Nolan movie, I will be a barista in the background. It doesn't matter what. I just want to be in a Nolan movie.
Yeah, they say that until you get the Gary Oldman treatment. You get one scene. Like, fuck that guy.
Oh, I'm pretty sere he got paid very well for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, same with that Rami Malek. I was like, I'm like, is that Rami Malek? And then he had no speaking lines. He's like, can you sign my thing? He's like, get that thing out of my face.
Get the fuck off of me. Yeah, he's so dismissive of him too.
I was like, is that Oscar winner Rami Malek as like an extra? I'm like, it was a fucking weird choice.
Yes, that's correct.
But then he had that one scene at the end. But again, he didn't do that much. But
I have a question, and it's, if you guys hate the question, we can skip it. But obviously, Robert Downey Jr.
I hate the question.
Thank you.
Skip it.
Won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I guess my question here is, why did they have to cast Robert Downey Jr. and age him up instead of just casting an old guy to do it?
No, you can't. Well, he's pretty old, but they did age him up quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's the same reason they hired Colin Farrell to play the Penguin. And they made him look like like an old fat guy.
Because you can.
Because you can, exactly. And then people go, "Oh wow, that's can't believe that's Colin Farrell. That's look what they did. He's really getting into the role." And then I've been fucking getting into the Penguin role for the last 10 years, and I don't get any credit for being fat. But
it was like what's his face? The guy who plays Whiplash on Iron Man 2 was preparing for his role. That role,
Mickey
Rourke.
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
He was preparing for that role his whole life.
his whole life. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why, but he was great. But you're right. Like, there's probably a lot of actors that would love the opportunity. But you know, you're making a movie this big. You got to get the names
So
to sell the movie.
Oh yeah, they didn't have enough names in this movie.
No, they didn't have enough.
What I'm reading here is that Nolan wanted to work with Robert Downey Jr. because of Iron Man. He says apparently that casting him as Iron Man was one of the greatest casting decisions in the history of movies, and he was really excited to play with him, work with him.
He saw Tony Stark and he said, "That's my Strauss.
That's my Louis Strauss.
That's my Louis Strauss. He's exactly how I want him."
Yeah.
That's fair. I can see that.
So apparently it was Nolan that wanted, but yeah, it is a weird choice. There were. I'm sure he could have found any number of very, very good actors closer to the age that Strauss.
I mean, Gary Oldman could have played that role.
Yeah.
And probably would have fucking crushed it.
Yeah, he could.
But
He would have.
I just picture him watching Iron Man. I mean, like, that Iron Man suit is kind of like a weapon of mass destruction. Maybe.
Oh, what a fucking stretch, man!
It's almost like he's Louis Strauss.
You're gonna pull a muscle stretching that far.
It's almost like we should just talk about the lack of plot holes in this movie.
Sure.
This movie didn't have plot holes; it had black holes
and loopholes.
Loopholes mostly. This movie, because Christopher Nolan made the effort to tell a story that is historically accurate as much as he could, it can have plot holes because it's based on real life. So even if real life is fucked up and weird, it happens. So
it has to make sense by default.
Yeah, it makes sense. But the transitive properties of being historically accurate, it makes sense. So good for you, Christopher Nolan. You tricked us, and I don't know if this is to balance out the many plot holes that exist in Tenet, but he's a good example.
A movie with time travel has plot holes.
He's like, I picture him making this being like, take that, cinema sins.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like he basically has he has two ends of the spectrum, right? He's nothing and everything, and so I'm curious. Maybe since there's no plot holes here, I was wondering if we could take a little time to discuss what's the most effective way to avoid plot holes in a movie, because
other than basing it on a real story.
Yeah, because obviously you could if it was easy enough to write a movie story that didn't have plot holes, we'd have a lot more movies that didn't have plot holes, and this podcast would just be named Popcorn.
It would just be popcorn, and we'd be talking about corn. Yeah.
So
now that's a podcast.
There's got to be some way to help these people, Zack Snyder, to make movies that make sense.
So here's what you do. You take a real life story and then you just change the names.
and the genders in some places.
The genders, and you set it in the future or in the past.
And you make it about grain.
Yep.
And you make it about grain.
Yeah. Nope, you've already failed.
I've failed.
No, see, if we just take this movie Oppenheimer, we set it in Rebel Moon, and instead of uranium and plutonium, they need grain.
Yeah.
To power their nuclear grain weapon.
They're not nukes.
They're not nukes naturally, which tracks with the vaginal loop wormholes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That's please not talk about Harvest Moon. This is a good movie we're talking about.
But think about this movie in space with grain. How much of a better movie it would be?
It would be horrific.
And a lot of plot holes.
It would be horrific. It would be so full of plot holes.
I honestly think a lot of the problems that people, Zack Snyder, have with plot holes in his movies is I think he starts with what he wants the movie to end like, or he starts with the end goal and he tries to work backwards. But instead of making things make sense backwards, he just what are all of the cool shit that I think I can put, and then I'll figure out a way of tying them together. So maybe if you actually look at the story you're trying to tell before deciding how much slow motion you're going to put on it or how much grain you're going to show, if you do that, maybe that's a good way of avoiding plot holes.
So you're saying after you get your rating, whether it's R or A,
Yes.
and then you write the story, you make that story
Fit the rating.
Obviously, but then it also, you write it from scene to scene as opposed to starting at the end and working backwards. That way it has like a natural flow.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. You can start backwards, by the way, as long as you still go scene by scene backwards then.
Now, were you talking about Tenet now?
I guess I am.
Yeah, I think that generally all the plot holes in most movies does come down to laziness. It's like there's like a plot hole, and they whenever there's like a hand waving kind of thing, that's usually where we sink our teeth into. Because it's like, yeah, I'm hand waving because I don't have an explanation because it's a hole in my story.
But there's like, it feels like there's a fine line between giving you just enough information to let your brain extrapolate it into being cool, like in the John Wick universe, when they create like the coins and the hotels. It's like, oh, this is cool. It'll look, there's pieces there, but then you get Zack Snyder, who's like, hey, it'd be cool if we fucking shovel coal into the engine of a spaceship.
Yeah, we won't explain it.
Into the garbage bin of the spaceship.
People's imagination can fill that up.
And not that that's even a plot hole, but it's like it seems like it's a really fine line for people. Like it's like the rule of cool, right? Where it's like, oh, it looks cool, let's do it. But you invariably get to a point where like bringing back in Rebel Moon, bring back what's his face, Atticus. Is it Atticus? I don't know.
I don't know. Noble? Yeah.
Noble. Yeah, Noble. But like, to what end? Why? Like, you didn't prove that you could do this. You have this technology.
Matt, you gotta let it go, Matt.
I won't let it go.
You gotta let Rebel Moon go. That was 5 episodes ago. Yeah. It's been well over a month.
Fine. But my point being is like, is it just bad storytelling? Are these people just bad storytellers, or is it like, is the last Rebel Moon mention I'll make? Is it all gonna be fixed with the extended cuts?
First of all, obviously, yes.
Yes.
It's all gonna be fixed in the director's cut. Only Zack Snyder gets 2 chances at every movie.
Yeah,
he gets to make a movie, hear all the critiques, fix it, and then still get shit on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because his idea of fixing it is, I'll address it in my own way.
Luciano, you got to let it go, man. You got to let it go. It was over a month ago. I don't even think Rebel Moon 3 is going to be made. So
let me pick another movie then. Like, to me, one of the most like egregious thing of like, I think this is cool and I'm going to do it even though it doesn't make sense, is like the 100 billion Star Destroyers with planet killers and the end of Skywalker.
Yeah,
it's like that's to Spencer's point. That's just laziness. It's like, oh, well, how can I make this grander and cooler and more epicer? They're like, oh, you know what's cool? A planet killer. You know what also is cool? A Star Destroyer. Wouldn't it be 100 billion times cooler if I had 100 billion times those? Money. Shoot it. Like, it's laziness.
Write that down. I don't have a pen. All I have is cocaine. Write it in cocaine then.
Sniff some more cocaine and you'll definitely remember it.
Yeah. It will imprint in your memory if you sniff somewhere. Yeah.
I mean, I think we sound like old people. I mean, it's not age. It's not like new movies.
We are.
But it's like, I think it just comes down to, like, it's like movies written by vote, movies written by testing. I forget what it's called, by committee.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you have that, it's like people are like, it's like, again, it reminds me of that Simpsons episode where they're like, do you like it when Itchy and Scratchy are real and down to earth? They're like, yeah. And they're like, what about when they do zany adventures that break all the rules? Like, yeah. It's like, so you want a down to earth episode with off the wall crazy hijinks? So like, yeah, all right, yeah. And it's like, yeah, you can't do that. You can't like have a committee be like, I'd really like a scene with 100 100 friggin' giant ships, and they're like, well, shit, we're on this planet, and it's just the Emperor. How are we gonna do that?
Yeah.
We'll raise them. That's what the audience wants. The audience wants a big space battle at the end, And then it comes when it comes to that, that's where your plot holes come in because they're just trying to please everyone.
Well, you think you're trying to please, but in that case, was like a misunderstanding. This was like a plot, and I'm not gonna go into Rise of Skywalker again, I promise. But like this is like a plot written by reading Reddit and misinterpreting what people are saying. That's
Sure.
what that plot was.
Yeah, that whole movie is just like
Star Wars uniquely suffers from the problem of having different writers and directors in all three movies, and somehow you didn't let them talk to each other.
Yeah.
It's like you have to play broken telephone. You can only watch
Yeah.
this movie and then make your own afterwards, but you don't get to know anything about what the person was thinking.
And also you get to make your own movie, and you get to give the other guy the shaft just because you can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
you can leave like cliffhangers without answers and be like, I'll let him figure it out. And be like,
Yeah.
but there's no satisfying answer to that question.
And his solution to it is just bringing back the Emperor.
Yeah. That was gonna bring that up. Is like the laziest thing. It's like, fuck, how do we make this even more dire, and how do we raise the stakes? I know, bring back the crusty old fucking dead dude.
Yeah. So
I'm back from the dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to steer us away from those
Star
problematic
Wars
movies.
again.
Well, because that movie is problematic for
Number of reasons.
a bunch of reasons, because it has historical context and has other movies and things to pull from.
Yeah.
If you're making a net new movie, how do you construct something that has a plot and narrative that makes sense without opening up giant holes in your movie? And there are so many movies that do it. And is it the matter of the story, of trying to make the story too grand? Is it a matter of just focusing on a few characters, or not having multiple subplots, or like going for a specific ending? Or is it just because continually Hollywood executives think they know more about making movies than storytellers and directors?
Yeah, I think that last one's a big one.
I think it's like you have to have, if someone's writing a movie, they have to have like a vision, and they have to like not be stupid, Like when Quentin Tarantino writes a movie, it's like he puts a lot of work into all the different elements working with each other to create, the story. And I'm pretty sure if you had fucking and Christopher Nolan, like he has the sway and the power to be like, don't touch my movie,
Right. Yeah.
because I have like a set vision, and like a lot of these like, especially these big franchise movies, they're like, we're gonna get a director who will do what we want. Like, first of all, we can't have somebody who will just like, we have no control over, because it's too much money to risk. So it's like they hire some, director who looks like he can shoot something decently. And he's like, okay, we're going to let you make it, but we have notes. The notes are written in cocaine.
Yeah. Also, the notes are called the script.
Yeah, exactly. And then when that happens, it's like, then you have a guy who doesn't write movies, writing movies.
Yeah.
Right. And then I think that's where most of the most egregious plot holes are, where it's like, that story with Kevin Smith where he's writing I don't know if you heard that, he was writing the Superman movie.
Yep.
And that famous, I forget who his name was, John something, was like, the script's great, but he was really obsessed with having a giant spider.
Yeah.
And he was like, you just have to have a giant spider in the third act. He's like, what? There's no giant spider in this movie. And he's like, no, we just got to have it. And that man went on to make Wild Wild West, which had a giant spider at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's like that. You could just see that kind of happening and being like, well, yeah, that's going to create a plot hole when there's no spiders throughout the movie, and in the final act there's a giant spider. So it's like, I think that kind of mentality is just strong, especially with the bigger the movies are.
Yeah, and the bigger the movies are, also there's like a formula that they're expected to follow. And even if you do have what you said, Spencer, like the vision and the idea, and you weren't stupid and you wrote it down, but then it doesn't touch on like bullet point 7 and 13 of the fucking formula. Now you have to kind of fucking shoehorn it in.
You gotta get a romance in the third act. You gotta have a big kiss moment. Like, what? There's no romance in the story.
This is a movie about Tetris. How can I? Yeah.
We'll have the L piece fall in love with the square piece.
I think you raise a good point. I think this is homework for everybody if you're listening to this. I think it's Key and Peele. Key and Peele did a sketch where they made fun of the writing process for Gremlins 2 and how cracked out it was and how they came up with all these like random ideas and shoved them into a movie. And it's like, it's obviously Key and Peele making fun of something, but it's like all these ideas were true. And it's just like trying to figure out how they got into the movie. And
I haven't seen that, but I really want to.
Yeah, and now I want to see that too. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's just like, I guess when like so few directors and writers have the cachet to get the story they want to write and say told, that invariably someone is going to meddle in a way that messes the story up. And it could be as simple as like, listen, I don't love Zack Snyder and I don't think his problems are related to timing, but if someone says, hey, you got to make a movie and it's got to fit this time frame where it's got to be this
can't
amount
be
of
3.5 hours long. He's like, I'm not doing it.
Right. And so like it could be that like when you do that to someone and they have to start making choices on what to cut out, like I'm sure if you watch a movie at 3 hours and they're like, oh, we can cut this, we can cut this, we can cut this, you still have that in your brain that thing happened. And so your brain fills in the gaps of the story. But then when you show it to a test audience, they're like, what the fuck is going on?
What is this fucking fever dream? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no way to fix it because the studio wants to hit a runtime or wants to put a fucking giant spider in their movie.
Yeah. And to your point, our friends, the West Side Boys, they were supposed to be the ones.
Hey,
they were supposed to be the
West Side
ones
Boys in the house
to produce. Like they were supposed to be them running Oppenheimer, and Nolan fought them because they wanted to do a bunch of shit, and he brought it afterward. I think it was Paramount or Universal. It was Universal.
Yeah.
The original idea was to make it with Warner, but like the West Side Boys, like, hey, you're gonna put some mustache people there, and then he raised them.
Oppenheimer's gotta have a big metal suit. People love metal suits,
and also a mustache, a big old mustache that we're gonna erase digitally.
What if you give Oppenheimer the super soldier serum, and then he goes and kills Hitler?
I like that.
Right?
Like
we'll call him Captain New Mexico, so no infringements.
Captain Alamo.
This guy's cooking. Yeah. This guy's cooking. Captain Alamo. It's got a good ring to it.
Captain Los Alamos.
I thought we went over this, Christopher. No Captain Alamo, no movie.
Maybe Oppenheimer can be next to the bomb and it explodes and he gets nuclear powers. Nuclear powers. They would say nuclear powers.
Yeah, they would say nuclear powers. Yeah. He's like yellow Hulk. Am I right?
Elk?
Yeah, Hulk.
Are you making fun of my accent or what?
Whoa, I thought you were from the West Side too. Whoa.
Hey, whoa, we don't do that here. That's East Side boys.
I want him to ride the nuke down when it lands, like in that old movie. You know?
Yeah.
It's a famous scene. People like it. It's an homage.
Yeah.
It's a homage.
A homage.
Everyone loves a good homage. Am I right?
Everyone loves a good homage, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll survive. I know. And then he'll say, I'm smasher of ass.
Dr. Strangelove is actually hard. Like, a lot of it is based on Edward Teller from this movie. Like, the Hungarian dude from this movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's him and Werner von Braun both together as a composite insane character. That's Dr. Strangelove. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, so I think, like, studio meddling is definitely part of what happens, because especially if it's like, no, you only have an hour and a half, but I shot a 2.5-hour movie. Well, just cut some shit. What's the worst that can happen?
I mean, to end it, it's probably also sometimes on the director and the storyteller.
Oh yeah,
because
sometimes there's bad.
Sometimes it's Zack Snyder. Yeah.
Or like, they make changes to the story, and they, someone writes the story, they get it, but the director or someone else rewrites it in midstream because they want to do something else. There's, so there's, I guess there's.
Or like they fired the script writer in the middle, and someone picks it up and like, oh, let's start cutting.
But like, in those people's defenses, half the time it works, right? Like if it works, if you
define it works. It makes money? Sure.
Yeah, a successful film. Like maybe people have taken a script that was okay and they've changed it or ad-libbed or whatever during the production and it's made a better movie. So everyone thinks they're geniuses, right? But
I want Oppenheimer to gun down 6 men who disappoint him, okay? That's it. If he's not gunning down, we'll give him a Tommy gun. Yeah. It'll be perfect.
Yeah. Like that movie with that Elliot Ness guy?
Do that.
Yeah, Elliot
So let's-
Oppenheimer.
so
Am I right?
Let's also
change-
give
change his name to
let's give him a
Elliot.
big scar. Let's give him a big scar.
Yeah.
Call him Scarface.
Okay.
Yeah. He can be called Scarface. Who? Hey, nobody knows if he had a scar.
Yeah, no one knows. So
Nobody was alive 80 years ago.
Elliot Oppenheimer is from Chicago.
He's a Chicago cop, okay?
He's a Chicago,
He's a Chicago
cat,
mobster.
mobster. And in his spare time, he dabbles in the physics,
In the nuclears.
the nuclears.
In the nuclear.
That's right.
I like it.
I like
Yeah.
it. Print it.
And he's got to create a bomb to take down the East Side mob, okay? Because they're building.
Tired of it.
Wait,
They
the
gotta-
east
they
side.
gotta-
The east side of what? Just the east side.
The East Side. You know what it is. Don't act
The
like you
whole-
don't
the
know what
whole
the East
of it.
Side is.
The whole
the
of it.
whole East Side. Yeah.
And they're gonna come out. They're like, "Yo, we're from the East Side of Germany. What up?"
But wait, that's only after the war. Shut up! Nobody asked you.
The German. We'll just say the gang's name are the Germans. Yeah.
The East
It
Germans.
works.
That's the
Spencer,
gang
can
name.
I funnel this energy into a slightly different direction? Because we have to get to some of our fun
I
questions.
insist.
So, what if the West Side Boys are dead set on a sequel to Oppenheimer?
Oh.
What is the
Hey.
sequel about?
Okay. Well, I was already inspired by Luciano earlier when he said, "This is like the Avengers."
Oh
of
no!
scientists.
What have I
And
done?
I think that's the perfect direction to
Shit.
take
Oh
this.
God.
So here we go. We make an Einstein movie. We make a Niels Bohr movie. We make a Fermi movie.
Enrico Fermi movie. Yeah, let's go.
We make a
Edward
Feynman movie.
No, Rob. Yeah, Richard Feynman. Yeah,
Richard Feynman, and the villain is Klaus Fuchs,
the
who
betrayer.
escaped this as a spy.
Yep.
But he's in the combined movie, obviously. Okay.
His code name is Omega Red.
Yes. Obviously. Now, in each of their movies, they have to defeat science in a different way.
Defeat science.
Yes.
Yeah,
So, okay, I'm here.
Oppenheimer defeated
Defeated
science by
science.
making the nuclear bomb.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Einstein's got to defeat time.
Nice.
Oh, the Infinity Stones. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, no, we can't
No,
steal
we
that
can't,
idea.
We can't steal. Niels Bohr's got to defeat reality for some reason.
Yeah, why not?
Feynman
Defeats
Soul.
Soul.
the soul. He's gonna
Yeah.
defeat the soul.
Yeah.
And wait, so
and-
then like Fermi defeats power?
Space.
Well, wait, no.
No. Oppenheimer was power.
Heisenberg should defeat space.
Okay, I'm gonna trust you on that. 'Cause I don't know what any of these guys
None
do.
of them are astronomers.
And then Fuchs is trying to get the microscope of power.
You're missing one science. The mind science has to be defeated.
Oh, that's Teller.
Jean Tatlock. She's a psychiatrist.
Okay,
She's dead.
Tadlock.
No, I don't care.
She was brought back with the soul
Yeah,
stone.
she was brought back with the soul stone.
science. She was brought back with soul science.
She was brought back by Feynman.
by
on
Feynman.
Okay,
movie.
so
Soul
that's fine.
science.
We just have to get the movies in a row, right? So like
Yeah.
the Tatlock movie can't happen until Feynman
The
brings it
Feynman
back.
movie is done. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the
That's
stinger.
naturally.
It's the stinger. She
It's the
appears at the end.
And Fuchs is after the infinity microscope.
It's a microscope. Is that
Why
Is
a
that a-
microscope?
I don't know. Name something sciencey. That's what you writers are for.
The
Yeah.
Oh, I got
Large Hadron
it. That's exactly
Infinity
what I was gonna go with.
Accelerator.
Infinity Collider.
the Infinity
Infinity
Collider? Thank
Collider.
you. Yes.
That fucking sounds like something Marvel would do.
And
Who's
using
Marvel? What are you talking about? Don't say that.
Yeah. Don't
Oh,
complicate things with
God.
this Marvel talk. And then then they make and they call themselves
The Revengers.
no.
Why not?
That's already taken.
No, I said Revengers.
That's
Yeah,
also taken.
That's also taken.
Oh, is it? Oh fuck.
Yeah, it's in Thor. I mean, I've never seen those movies. What movies?
No, who's that?
Who are you?
The Vindicators.
No, it's got to be like the physicists or like the
Physicators?
the
Physicators.
scientists, the physengers.
The Science-nators.
How about the Manhattan Project?
No, it's already taken.
Dr. Manhattan Project?
No, we don't. Do we own that? We own that guy. It's okay. Yeah, we can do that.
They're all blue. They're all blue at
Manhattan's
the
in
end.
this. Yeah, that's,
yeah.
That's what they create after the Manhattan Project.
You find out that his secret identity is Isidore Rabi. He is actually Dr. Manhattan.
Well, I was going to say, what if the Infinity Collider is powered off and that creates Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah.
I like it.
That's the first group movie.
That gave me an O right there. That gave me an O. I felt an O in my nut nukes.
I think you just nut nuked.
I think I just nut nuked myself.
I think you should probably go to the doctor to see that.
All right. I think we've answered the question pretty firmly. So let's just,
very thoroughly.
Let's move on from that one. Hey, we spent a lot of time talking about, specifically really not covering what the Nazis and the Russians are up to. They come up once in a while, but I think it's important to know that, what the Nazis were doing. I want to know, what do you think a day was like at I'm calling it the Nazi Oktoberfest project.
They're making beer? Is that why they don't end up making a bomb?
I mean, you tell me. I don't know. I didn't name the project.
The project can do more than one thing, okay? They can do two things at once.
That's fair. Many scientists there.
Most of them have a certain background, if I recall.
Do you think they even do anything, or they're just making fun of people, like making fun of the Americans and?
Yeah,
no, I think they're trying to make bombs,
right?
But what did they say in the movie that their advantage is the anti-Semitism?
Yeah, because this is in real life. Apparently, Hitler called quantum mechanics Jewish science, so that would never happen in Germany.
You and your Jew science.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why he sounds like a West Side boy.
He does.
You and your Jew science. I find it hilarious, the idea of the Germans or the Nazis using Jewish scientists whilst thinking they're the worst people and not being able to. I just picture a Jewish guy be like, "Mein Herr, we've created we split the atom. It's a great success." It's like, okay, you sneaky Jew.
Sure you did.
Sure you did.
You fucking liar.
That's okay. But what are those guys doing down at that church with the zombies? I heard that's real promising stuff.
Yeah. You split the atom, but did it have tar in it?
Yeah.
That is the question.
Did it create zombies or what?
You keep splitting atoms. I'm going to go find the Ark of the Covenant. Oh,
that thing's real.
Promising.
Yeah.
But it's okay, bud. Yeah, split the atom. Okay, Jewish guy.
You split the atoms, really?
Yeah.
What is an atom even?
Do you split the challah while you're at it?
Yeah. Do you split your latkes too?
You split your latkes? No, sir. I think we've created a nuclear weapon. Oh yeah,
is that what nuclear weapon?
Yeah, nuclear. What's that? Matzah?
Yeah.
Why do you know so much about Passover? What do you say? The Seder? Doing the prayers?
Do you need to not eat anything that's fermented before you use it? This fucking bomb of yours?
He's like, are you Jewish? How do you know every detail?
You know way more than I do, even.
What are you gonna say? Have the youngest say the Ma Nishtana? Come on, you ask the 4 questions.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna drip some wine on your plate too for the plagues? Is that what you're doing?
To represent the 10 plagues? Oh, I really think you're Jewish. I mean, no, I'm a Nazi.
This is uncanny. Yeah.
So Hitler's just really messing up. That's why they can't get anything done.
Yeah.
No, basically, they're trying. There's 2 scientists trying to do something, and everybody else is just going, "Oh, look at the Jews, trying to sneak one by us with their fucking matzah science."
Their matzah science. You guys are just making matzah over there. This is a working nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
Do you eat with horseradish too?
yeah.
I think
all
I've
right.
answered your question very
Yeah, no, you
thoroughly.
guys have cleaned it up. Hey, if it was 2020, sorry, if Oppenheimer lived in the present day, would he understand the plot of Tenet?
No.
I love that question.
Why wouldn't he?
Well, Oppenheimer was a man of science, so
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. He believed in logic and throughput. Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
all of him and his buddies would sign a petition being like, we need to ban Tenet?
Yeah, makes us look bad.
I think they would build a whole Los Alamos just to try and understand the plot together.
Well, I think he would just get like he'd have Albert Einstein watching. Albert Einstein would be watching me like, no, no,
Yeah.
that's not right.
Yeah. What are you doing to my precious equations?
What are you doing to my precious time? I said E equals MC squared. Squared.
Yeah. Not you're doing E equals MC hammer. That's not right.
Einstein, how do you know MC Hammer is? I traveled through time, okay? I followed the 80s.
Bill and Ted took me through time. I covered all of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I don't, the answer. The short answer is no.
Yeah. The long answer is no.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine. More back to the movie then. At the end of the movie, well, it happens a couple of times, but Louis Strauss brings Oppenheimer to come work at Princeton, and Oppenheimer has a quiet moment with Einstein, and Strauss thinks that they said something about him and they're out to get him. But we find out that they are actually talking about, now that Oppenheimer's made the atomic bomb, everybody's going to hate him.
Couldn't give two shits about Strauss.
Couldn't give two shits about Strauss. But the real question here is, what does Louis Strauss think Einstein and Oppenheimer talked about?
Didn't I already say what Oppenheimer said?
Oh.
I am become Riz, destroyer of ass.
I thought he said that to Gene Tatlock, not to Einstein.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry.
Also, I thought it was destroyer of pussy, not destroyer of ass when he said Riz.
No, I think it was actually I'm destroyer of dad ass.
That is correct.
So he was workshopping it.
I have a different question for that later.
During his sex moment with Gene, he was like, Riz, destroyer of pussy or ass? What do you think,
If he
Gene?
can stop to read Sanskrit while she rides him, then he can fucking work out his catchphrase.
The man can multitask.
From the future.
He can fucking multitask for sure.
So I think, what would upset, what did he think? So the question is, what did he think Oppenheimer said?
Well, like, what do you think Einstein and Oppenheimer said?
Like what Strauss thought they said?
Yes.
I think he thought Oppenheimer went to Einstein and said, "You should see how fucking bald he's getting, this motherfucker." And Einstein was like, "Yeah," and that was it.
This man, I swear to God, smells like leeks, like specifically leeks. Smell him.
Boiled leeks.
Boiled leeks.
Like, oi, yeah, I know. I've been here. I've been here the whole summer. Yeah.
Some of the shots you miss, and that was one of them. And we're just going to move on and not worry about it. It happens.
I'm not a big fan of Iron Man.
That's better.
I think it's overrated.
I think he's a B tier character. I think the movie suffered from poor acting.
Yeah.
And I don't care for it.
It was miscast.
Now, different question. I think it's now time to ask this question because I think we're ready for it.
Uh-oh.
It's fine. Nothing bad's going to happen. If only natural-born American citizens were allowed to work on the Manhattan Project, what would happen?
You mean if they weren't poaching?
Well, because America had the whole thing with anybody who was Japanese-born got to live in safety camps, we'll call them.
Oh, is that what we're calling them?
Well, they don't want to call them concentration camps, so we can't
I was
going to
say, weren't those like camps where people were concentrated?
They were. I think they called them work camps. Anyways, that's not important. But America liked to subjugate and group up certain people they didn't care for because they were risks to national security. So what if they decided all the Germans and Hungarians, Jewish people from Europe were all security risks? who would be left to work on this project and how would it go?
Sir, we did it. We successfully built the first nuclear-powered monster truck. That wasn't your job.
that wasn't what I asked at all. Yes, but look at her.
But look at that engine purr.
You can drive that straight up the Autobahn right into Hitler's house. No problem.
No problem. We got Larry the Cable Guy on it.
yeah. You can drive that thing all the way to Hitler's backyard and blow it up right up his ass. Yeah. And they would still be building it, I think. Like to this day.
To this day.
Yeah.
Okay.
We are this close to getting the nuclear bomb.
Yeah. The Nazis are not going to know what hit them.
Any day now, those Nazis are going to be done for. Yeah. We're here at Los Alamos.
We have 3 generations of scientists working on this.
Inbred scientists.
Yes.
My teeth don't work so good no more.
That also tracks.
Yeah. My sister wife says this job ain't good for me.
My sister wife says, Billy Bob, when are you going to be done with that job?
As soon as Billy Bob learns how to read again, we'll be good. The donkey kicked him in the head again.
Oh, there's a donkey.
Billy Bob likes to come up from behind on the donkeys, and they get scared and they kick him. It's a problem.
In the head.
Well, yeah, always in the head.
We think with 2 or 3 more donkeys, we can get this nuclear engine up and running. We just need a couple more donkey power.
We just need enough donkeys to pull them all the way to Hitler. Oh, no.
We need more donkey power.
We need donkey power.
Donkey power.
Donkey power.
We'll get there. We will.
Well, yeah, we'll get them Nazis. You'll see, sir.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We will have your Ford truck up and running. You're supposed to build a nuclear bomb.
Yes.
What now?
The what?
Nuclear? What's that?
What is nuclear?
Nuclear.
Yeah. That thing's dangerous. I ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole.
My sister wife says a nuclear is bad for the old nut nuke.
It's bad for your teeth. You don't have any teeth, exactly.
Game of Thrones says it's romantic to date your sister.
Donkey power.
No.
Hey, random other question. How did Oppenheimer become Scarecrow?
Okay.
You
take this.
It takes a scientific mind to create the substance that scares people.
Right. So I think after he's found, he gets his security clearance denied. He has a lot of free time.
And he's angry.
And he's very angry. And he's also, he spent a lot of time after the bomb thing feeling scared. Mm-hmm. And then he starts going, why am I the only one who's scared? And then, with the anger and everything. And he has a lot of free time on his hands. No more Senate committees or hearings or anything. So I think he starts developing, he starts developing a real interest in chemistry, I guess, late in his life.
Yeah, it's not that hard.
Always happens.
And and then he uses his knowledge about quantum physics and creates a branch of chemistry called quantum chemistry.
Sure,
I like it.
And he starts testing on his children because he's a great father.
Mm-hmm. It's the only way to know for sure.
Yeah, because if it works on your family, it will work on everybody.
I'm sure the Cold War, all the scare, all the fear that was going on during that time.
Yeah, that's
him.
true. And also, like with the Red Scare, and people saying, "Oh, you think I'm?" He's like, "I think I'm a communist. I'm going to show you."
You think I'm a monster? I'll show you the kind of monster I can be.
Exactly. Then he also turns slightly Irish towards the
I don't think Scarecrow was Irish.
No, but Cillian Murphy is.
Yeah, that's true. But then he covers up as Irish.
Yeah.
And I would say also he changes his name because of all the
Oh, of course.
flag. He can't go on being Oppenheimer.
Well, the name is too well known for him to.
Right.
And then he moves to Gotham.
Yeah.
At the end. And go ahead.
And no, I was just gonna say, and he chose Crane because of the crane that had to carry the nuke.
Oh,
Jonathan
right.
Crane.
A homage, as the West Boys would say. The West Side Boys would say.
Everyone loves a good homage.
Everybody's a good homage.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. But I think that's great. I don't think there's anything else to
I think
talk
that's
about.
it. And then he injects all of Gotham with the fear toxin because he's addicted to the fear that he once had. He was once a feared man.
He wants to share the fear.
He wants it back. No one remembers.
Yeah.
No one remembers the name. Jonathan Crane.
Hey, what other catchphrases did Oppenheimer try out before he went with "I have become Death, Destroyer of Worlds" or
Sorry, what'd you say?
I am Riz.
"I am Riz,
I
Destroyer
am
of
become
Death"?
Riz.
I have become Riz,
Destroyer of that ass.
Destroyer of that ass. Thank you. Yes.
Before he came to that one, you're saying?
Yeah. What else did he workshop?
It's pizza time.
Kawabunga, I was going to say.
Okay, yeah.
Cowabunga dudes.
Yeah.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Oof,
Yeah. Ay caramba.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah.
That's his famous line.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Well, I mean, yeah.
He's workshopping.
He also, no, I mean, that was a good contender, Hasta la Vista, baby.
Yeah.
And I think he varied it after the hearing. He changed it to I'll Be Back. Yeah.
They said, "Where are you going?" And he's like, "Yeah, everyone keeps saying that
Yeah.
whenever I say it, so it doesn't really track."
It doesn't really work. It gave it a solid try, and it didn't work.
Ice
what
Ice
else?
Baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Ice Ice Baby didn't work because, the bomb is hot, not
Yeah,
cold,
he was trying to make a point about,
Nuclear winter.
exactly, and the regret he had. He says,
And like he tried Nuclear Winter, baby. That didn't work.
Yeah.
So he changed to
Yeah. The mouthfeel just
Ice.
all wrong.
Yeah. Well, everything about this is wrong. Yeah.
All right.
But then he stuck with "I am become Riz."
Yeah.
Well, he went to "I am become Death" first, and then he was like, "It's not quite."
It's not quite.
Yeah.
Well, it's
as
like
effective
it was
with the
fine
ladies.
for the Manhattan Project, yeah, but like it had no. When you go up to a girl and like, "Hey, baby, I am become Death, Destroyer of Worlds," it's just they look at you weird.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one right after the Trinity test. He dabbled with "Dodge This" as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dodge this.
Yeah, the bomb.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. No, I think we've beat this dead horse dead.
Oh, I forgot. He said, "I'm going to Disneyland."
Oh yeah, of course.
Famous.
One last question. Hans Bethe loves to gamble. He gambled at his fucking month of salary for $10 that bomb was going to blow up.
He's betting on a nuclear weapon.
He's betting on a nuclear weapon. He's fucking getting down on whether it's going to ignite the atmosphere.
Some people bet on horses. Some people bet on sports.
Yeah, the man doesn't kid around.
Yeah,
the man doesnn't kid around. It's nukes or nothing.
We live in a day and age where you can gamble on everything, and gambling's everywhere. What would Hans get down on
today?
He needs a rush. I mean,
Well,
first
if he
and
needs
foremost,
a rush, if he needs a rush, you just buy crypto.
No, I was gonna say, first and foremost, he's deep in the NFT world.
Oh, 100%.
There's no doubt about it.
What's his thing? Is he into like? Is he making them? Is he generating them?
No, he's buying
brain.
Bored Apes.
No, Bored Apes. You know that's a sound investment. First of all, that's not risky. You don't want a Bored Ape. No, I think that it started off as him buying, low market, NFTs just to get in. He flipped a few, turned a profit, saw the market, and decided to make his own. And obviously,
there's pictures of the bomb.
Yeah, they're nuke themed, and each nuke has like a different trait, in terms of how the explosion looks for
Right.
different values.
And how the casing looks as well.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
and then he created Nuke Coin,
Yeah, I was gonna say new coin for sure.
which he
Yeah.
put all of his money into.
Yeah,
And
that's where it went
And
wrong.
he
That
said,
was a big mistake.
Yeah.
and then he said, if I bet an entire year of my salary versus $10 that this coin's gonna take off.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
he did.
And he put it into it, and then
Yeah.
he was the only one to own Nuke Coin.
Yeah. He had all 100%.
He had 100% market cap of
Yeah.
Nuke Coin.
That was worth
And
nothing.
this was the crazy thing, is he wouldn't sell it.
Yeah, he wouldn't give anybody
He wouldn't
else
sell anything.
Bitcoin. Yeah.
So because he said, when it goes up, I want to have
all of it.
all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and he
Which
was
is-
like, I'm not going to sell it now that it's worth nothing. I have to wait until it's worth something.
Yeah,
Right, and
he's got to
which
wait for the
really-
bump.
And that really killed his NFT because you could only get his NFTs by using Nukecoin.
That was
No,
literally-
yeah,
they were
100%,
tied.
yeah.
Yeah, they were tied together.
They were tied to promote.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was weird because at one point people really wanted it.
Yeah.
For
Like
some
if-
reason.
The
He's like, you can't get it
theoretical
if you don't have
value
Nukecoin.
of Nukecoin for like a fraction of a second.
For literally 6 minutes,
Yeah.
it boomed.
It was
on,
like
on a Tuesday. Yeah.
6 minutes Tuesday, 3 a.m. It
Yeah.
was worth
3 a.m.
Yeah,
billions.
3 a.m. where?
Yeah, exactly.
everywhere.
Exactly.
And then they call it Black Tuesday for those in the Nukecoin.
Yeah.
Because that's also the day that it crashed.
Yeah.
Spencer, I
and-
heard it was Dust Tuesday. Is that
Yeah.
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 I believe that everyone was saying
Fallout. It was Fallout Tuesday. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
There we go.
yes.
We did
And
it. Good
everyone
job.
was saying, "Oh,
Yeah. And,
this
and like
this
you
nuke
said,
this coin is been nuked to the ground
yeah.
because of value."
The half-life of this
Oh, there it
coin
is.
is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real bad.
And then, like
Good
you
job.
said, Spencer, everybody in the new coin
Community
realm suffered
on
greatly
the
with the
on the new coin Discord
Yeah.
server.
yeah,
Everybody.
the-
All
everyone-
one of them.
all him. Yeah, exactly.
The whole community was
The
really
whole community was
disturbed.
just
Devastated.
distraught. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Let's do a review of this movie. We use our patented S tier system. First people to ever use it. Only people to ever use it. S is the top. F? F's the
F.
lowest. That sounds right. Spencer, why don't you go first?
We don't get movies of this caliber on this show very often.
Yeah. No, we don't.
We do
Uh,
not.
We do not. So this movie, I mean, we went through it. We had a lot of fun today, but real talk, this movie was really fucking good. Like it was enjoyable to watch. The guy who's at the top of the game making a movie that like clearly wasn't. It's not a cash grab. It's not a franchise. It's not like a trying to please anyone. It's just like there was a story to be told, and it was told well. And visually, score, acting, you name it, was done. It's like the top of the industry doing it, right? Like, so this movie. And my only critique was the ending, and I talked myself out of into liking it, because once I talked about it more, I realized that I didn't really. I needed to sink in, which is always the case of a good story. So I give it S tier, no questions asked. Great movie. I'd actually maybe watch this movie again, and that's crazy because it's so long and so dialogue driven. But it was good. It was a vibe.
I can see that. Luciano?
Yeah, like Spencer said, we made fun of it, of a lot of things and all that, but it's a superb movie. Like, it was something I was thinking when I was watching. It was like, we don't get to talk about movies that are this good, like proper good movies, not just fun or well executed or whatever, but just a good piece of cinema. It's very rare for us. But yeah, it's the beginning bothered me a lot more than the rest of the movie, like the first 20 minutes, where there were a lot of those like abstract things, like kind of like Nolan trying to make it more fun when it was pretty straightforward with the galaxies and the atom things. Like I was bothered by that, and I was bothered by the back and forth as well, because I thought it kind of detracted from the movie. It didn't need to be that way, but that's really the only critique that I have, like actual critique of, or something I wish was different. That being said, I'm not even gonna go into like the acting is fucking amazing, obviously, just with the cast that they have, and Christopher Nolan is a great director. I was very torn between an S and an A, and I think I'm gonna reserve my asses for my ass. I'm gonna reserve my ass for something greater.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it an A.
That's shocking.
Yeah, well, it's not because I think it's better. An A is a great score, but I don't think it crosses that threshold of ass for me. Like I wouldn't watch it again. I don't think certain scenes of it, sure, but not the whole thing.
Yeah, I know what scenes you'd watch again, you sick fuck.
Oh, that too, but I actually would watch the Trinity explosion scene again. Just the whole thing with the tension and all that stuff. It's actually really fun to watch. But yeah, I'm gonna settle with an A. It's an A for me.
Well, you're a coward.
No, the coward move would be to give an ass like everybody else in the fucking world did.
Technically, it's only got like 97 or 98%. So
Yeah,
not
only.
everybody.
Just only. Yeah.
It had to be that 2%, eh?
Yeah.
It had to be the 2%,
That's me.
Luciano.
That's me.
sometimes everybody in the world gives it an S because that's what it deserves, and you don't have to be a contrarian.
Yeah, no, it's not. I truly don't.
Hey,
think
I'm
it
talking
deserves
now.
an
It's my
S.
turn to review. I'm not talking to you anymore. Get out of here.
All right, fine.
This movie was
What
very
I
fun.
mean is, no, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
This movie was really fun. It was. Normally, I complain about movies being 3 hours and being very long because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of them waste their time. This movie didn't feel like it wasted my time at all. I did have to watch it in 2 sittings just because I have children and a life, and like finding 3 hours in a block is very hard.
I have neither, so I watched it in one sitting.
Yeah, fuck you. But like, I had to stop myself because I had to go to bed. It wasn't like I wanted to stop, and it's very
Right.
rare that happens for movies of that length. So that's a kudos right there. And this movie needed 3 hours, so it was great. You guys said everything else. Everything was great. Acting was great. It's lots of movies I don't notice the sound being good. It's there, and I kind of. But this is when I really noticed how good it was, especially in the Trinity test. Like it brought that tension level where I felt the tension of that those scientists felt. That hopefully got this test work. So everything to me was great, and generally I like to keep the idea that I would rewatch this movie again to put it into the S tier. But I don't think I want to always have that rule because sometimes a movie is just really fucking good, but also does not need to be watched again. So for me, it's an S tier movie because I had a phenomenal time with it, and I have no notes on how to change or make it better. So Spencer and I are right. Luciano's wrong, and that's the end of our World War II month of June.
Yep.
We covered everything.
We covered
Science,
everything. We talked about
Nazis.
everything.
Other things.
We talked about things I never thought we would. If you asked me in the beginning, it's like we talked about tar, and we talked about zombies.
We talked about Harvest Moon quite a bit.
Yeah.
How you make a silent military operation that no one can stop you on. Very successful.
Yep.
Next up, we're going away from World War II, but we're kind of sticking with the nuclear theme. Depending on your interpretation, we're going to watch Godzilla -1.
Oh, sweet.
So it might be
wanting
another
to
good
watch
movie.
that.
2 in a row good movies. It's a rarity for us.
So, well, we'll see.
Yeah, we don't want to.
I heard that other Godzilla movie we reviewed was good, and that was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So,
Yep.
This is true. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to drag Chris back, and we'll all watch Godzilla -1 and have a happy old time talking about how cool Godzilla is and not talking about bureaucracy.
one can only hope.
Or mouth lasers.
Or mouth lasers. So yeah, watch Godzilla -1, and you can join us next time, and we'll talk about that. Bye.
So tune in next week. Strap in your nuts and get ready for the nuke.